The next act, I know you're going to enjoy him because he's talented, he's bright, and he's my son, so I know you're going to enjoy him.
This is a Now Born beat.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Thank you for tuning in to the All on the Business AOB TV on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. Let me know where you from. Make sure you follow me on social media, Instagram, All on the Business TV. You know, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I drop a new video and drop some new content for ya. Yeah, so also hit me off on the Cash App if you would like a copy of the Get Out of Jail Free card. I'm doing it for $50 right now, holiday special. Send it straight to you. If you order it, make sure you put your name, your address, and the words "Get Out" in the subject line on Cash App. $, ALLONABIZ. You know, because I need to eat y'all, and I'm bringing y'all something that's going to help y'all eat. This business, this law and business right here. Let me go ahead and put the curtain back. This law and business right here. So this is the information I'm providing you is designed to help you get money, not just to talk your head off. I'm all on the business, and it's a good day. Today we're gonna go through the Freedom of Information Act and exactly how to execute. How are we gonna execute it? Right? How do we execute the Freedom of Information Act? This is what we on. Because we're not doing it like everybody else doing it. So in order for you to get a Freedom of Information Act request, for you to even want to initiate one, something happens to you. You know, your rights are violated, or, you know, you're seeking some type of information, right? So the first thing you're really going to have to understand is you don't want to even have to be in this position. You know, most recently I was kidnapped by the Colorado State Troopers. Yeah, y'all kidnapped me. And I had to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get the dispatch records, the audio, the transcripts, and the oath of office of the officer, and of course the bond. Colorado law provides that the bond of the officer in Colorado is $5,000 for the trooper. Each trooper has to post $5,000 bond. Okay, so I want that $5,000, being that he attempted to kidnap me, you know, for a ransom, for a reward, because of a false warrant. And I'm gonna tell you why it was a false warrant, because I used my Get Out of Jail Free card. So not only is this presentation today about executing a public record search and request, it's also about how the proof is in the pudding. How when you use your Get Out of Jail Free card, even if they try to trample on your rights because they act like they don't know how to do good business, which, you know, you may come into a position where you do everything right, but they still do you wrong. And that just happened to somebody I know, and it's happened to me. But I tell you what, there's a warrant. There's some so-called warrant. I get pulled over. It's a so-called warrant out, right? I tell the officer, hey, you know, I don't know nothing about that. He proceeds to arrest me. You know, We go through the whole rigmarole. I let him know that he's violating my rights. Anyways, he drives me all the way to jail. And he pulls over. And I say, how far are we from the jail? He said, we 10 minutes. And I said, well, let's go because I'm ready to see the judge. And he said, well, I can't take you into jail yet because I haven't confirmed the warrant. And I said, you telling me that you just arrested me and took me all the way from my car and you haven't confirmed this warrant? You have no confirmation of the warrant? And he didn't say nothing. And I said, well, do you mean to tell me you're not allowed to arrest anybody on a warrant that's not confirmed? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, it sounds like you need to take me back to my car. It sounds like you violated my rights. And it sounds like I need your name and badge number. So, of course, before I could even do a FOIA, F-O-I-A is FOIA for short, right? Before I could do a FOIA, I need to get the officer's name. Never allow them to investigate you without investigating them at the same time. See, this is an investigative matter until something gets executed. So we are investigating this officer. We want to know his name and badge number. Okay, so because this is how we locate, his information, the evidence that we also need, right? But the thing is, even if you don't get this officer's name and badge number, what's important to mark is the location in the area, because if they ever run the name that's on your license, now you could, tell them that it was an incident that occurred at this location. And the good thing about Google Maps is when you get on your map, you could drop a pin and it'll give you longitude and latitude. So you can actually drop the actual location on the earth that you're at where it occurred. And then there was, that department, whatever the officer works for, the city, county, or the state, they're responsible to get that information back to you. But let's just say you did your due diligence and you got the officer's name, Officer Blue. He's not going to tell you his first name. You'll get that later. But you got Officer Blue name, and he's in care of the city, county, or the state. And it's important for you to know that. See, the Colorado bond for the officer, it's paid by the state. So if it's paid by the state, then when you go to seek information on this individual, you want to make something payable to the state, right? Because you want to defeat, or you want to put this payment on his bond, right? So now he's the requestee. But he's in care of a city, county, or state department, right? Address, whatever. You, the requestor, right? Are you the requestor? No. The requestor is just a name. See, you are the payor for the requestor. See, the requestor is a business, right? And because we're doing business, and the officer was doing business. So since the officer was doing business and he did something that was in violation of your rights in your business as a private individual, now at this point you could use your public slave, right? Which what we're gonna call it. You can use your slave as the requester, right? Because John Doe is your first and last name, right? Which is going to be in all caps, but you are a human being that pays all debts for this name right here. So you could use this name as the requester itself instead of saying that you, the human being, are the requester, right? So now the requester is the title, right? So you got to be careful when you fill out these things. So if you do a FOIA request, at the top it's going to say requester. You put the name that your mother and father bestowed upon you, that the government took and turned into a quasi person, which is not a real person, right? What that means is you're going to put that first and last name, all caps, address, email, phone number. Now you got a requestor. And what do you want to request? The oath and the bond. Now, it's your due diligence. You have to do your due diligence to go into the laws of your state to find out what laws you're moving pursuant to. The oath and the bond. See, in Colorado, I could pull it up on the phone. Just had the bond up. So the Colorado bond is Colorado Revised Statute, Section 24-335-208. And that's the Colorado Trooper Bond. And then you have to find the oath. So when you line up your Freedom of Information Act request, you're going to actually outline the laws that you're moving pursuant to, right? You're not just going to tell them what to do without telling them the laws that you're moving on. So now, and you're going to ask for a power of attorney if it's applicable. Because I've never really seen the power of attorney in the law. I mean, I have, but instead of searching for that, you could say if applicable, because a lot of the time these bonds, they don't really have quote unquote power of attorneys. The state officers usually do, that I've seen, but sometimes it's just an insurance company where anybody can fill in that role, and you're really suing the insurance company anyway. So evidence, you want evidence. You want to get that body cam footage, that squad car footage, that dispatch, that audio transcript, the stuff that I got, right? Now, the public record request, you're going to send that to the custodian of the public records, right? So whoever's holding those records. So the state trooper, his records are being held by the Central Records Unit of the Department of Public Safety, Central Colorado State Trooper, right? Department. Now, since I know that's the custodian, I send the request there, right? And the request, when they get it, they're gonna send the invoice back to the who? Requestor, right? They're gonna send the invoice back to the requestor. Now, it's up to you to understand that you're not the requestor, because this is the only way you could pay out here, okay? There is no money, okay? So invoice to the requestor. Now the requestor, right, is gonna post some security in the public register, right? But the requestor don't have no money, so somebody is gonna pay for the requestor. You see, the requestor, John Doe, is insolvent and he's lacking the assets. He has assets insufficient to pay the debts on the invoice, because the invoice is going to tell you how much the information costs, all the stuff that you asking for. So Colorado, they want $400, right? They want $400. And then what they'll do with that $400 is they'll put that in an account and they'll collect some interest off that, and they'll build that. They have a trust fund. So anybody that requests public records, anytime they have to take time out of their day to process that and print that out, they're going to collect a tax off that, okay? Because the law doesn't say that they're supposed to collect money, but they do it as a tax, which is fine. Because when we go to these laws, we understand that that's a government obligation. Now, when we get this government obligation, this invoice, they telling me that I have to pay for public records. If it's public property, it belongs to me. So why should I have to pay the Federal Reserve notes or the check or the cash, however you're telling me to pay? Why can't I pay the way the law tells me to pay? Because I could pay whatever way is lawful. And the law tells me in Title 31, United States Code, Section 9303, it tells me that I can use this invoice as an obligation. I could use this invoice as security to pay for the debt. So what are we about to do? We about to take the invoice. We're going to use it to post security in the public register. And then they're going to release the documents to us. Now, what's the significance of that? What's the importance of that? Why would you do that? This is the question. Why? Because this is how you limit your liability. This is a limitation of liability. And what's going on is you're liable to pay $402. And if you don't, they won't give you the records. Right? So pay the $402 so you could get the records. Now what's going to happen is, I'm almost certain that this is going to happen, that they're not going to honor the payment, because a lot of the time the state governments, they really, I don't know, man. I like the government, so I think they do their jobs. I just think sometimes they're hesitant to do what's necessary for the people, you know. So we have to enforce the law and make people do their jobs, you know. And the only way to make somebody do their job is to put security on it, not to give them a gift, not to give them something with face value on it, but something with a value that can be fixed from time to time as necessary. See, let me explain something. Posting security is different than paying cash. See, if I was to pay you $1, right? $1 is worth $1. On the front of it, it tells you what it's worth. But security is worth either what it's appraised to be, or security can be fixed from time to time as necessary to satisfy the total debt of an obligation. That's a fact. Now, a bond means an executed written instrument which guarantees the fulfillment of an obligation to the United States and sets forth the terms, conditions, and stipulations of the obligation. Obligation. Now, if you trying to get some records, public records, and they telling you got to pay for them, that's an obligation for you. Because if you don't pay for it, they're going to close that case. Now, you obligated to pay. Because if you don't pay, they're going to close it. So this is why you post security that they may be able to fix from time to time as necessary. Right? Now, let's go to section. Let's go to it. Let's go to it, man. I got some stuff to do today. One of the brethren got caught up. If a person is required under a law of the United States to give a surety bond, the person may give an eligible obligation as security instead of a surety bond. The obligation shall be given to the official having authority to approve the surety bond, as determined by the Secretary of Treasury, have a market value that is equal or greater to the amount of the required surety bond, and authorize the official receiving the obligation to collect or sell the obligation if the person defaults on a required condition. You're required to pay. You're required to pay. Now, if they require you to pay more, you pay more. If you say something on the affidavit and they challenge it, then you have to respond to it so you don't default on your obligation. An official receiving an obligation under this section, under subsection A of this section, may deposit it with the Secretary of the Treasury of Federal Reserve Bank or a depository designated by the Secretary, a depository designated by the Secretary. The Secretary, bank, or depository shall issue a receipt that describes the obligation deposited. Using an eligible obligation instead of a surety bond for security is the same as using a certified check, a post office money order, cash. That's heavy. So the execution of this right here. Now, what's the significance? You post security. That means you posting a bond. See, posting security means posting a bond. And you posting a bond on the officer's account because you're requesting the information from him. Even though he's in care of a city, county, or state department, you're still requesting it from him through his department. And you're going to send him the payment, but you can't send it directly to him because they can say that that's bribery, right? You can't bribe him. You send the payment to, I mean, even if he receives payment, he got to turn it in, but you send the payment on his behalf to his boss. His boss handles the checks. Whoever pays him, that's who you send the money to let them know whose pocket is coming out of. Because the interest on that coming out of his pocket is his non-exempt interest. He has to pay taxes on his paycheck. And you telling them that you garnishing them that interest. You taking them taxes. You exempting the taxes on the security. When you posted security, you exempted his taxes, and now you claiming them. You claiming the taxes. You claiming the interest off his check. Only based on the balance that you deposited, though. So it's $402. That's gonna get. I'm gonna hit him with the interest at the 6% because I'm recovering money. It don't gotta be in the court. It's money paid out to the treasury. It's 6% back. It says that in the law. This is what the attorney general do. And when any of these officers violate your rights, you could bring a suit in the name of the United States, which means you could do anything the attorney general could do. That's what that means. If the law says in the civil rules, federal rules of civil procedure that, I mean, you want to just go to it? Let's see. I mean, what's the Rule 3, civil procedures telling you could bring a case in the name of the United States. Howard versus United States, 1902, telling you a private party could bring a case in his own name or the name of the United States for his own benefit. That's what it says, Howard versus United States. Anything you could do, I could do better. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So, understand, when you post security, like if you was to just pay this invoice with that money, that still is getting charged against him, because whenever somebody requests their oath, it becomes public record, and they know about it. They know when somebody's getting their oath and they bond. They know exactly how much it costs because they know that there's a liability there for them now. That's a liability. The fact that I'm paying for something based on the incident that occurred. Now he's liable for this $402. So instead of me giving them a gift to waive it, I'm going to give them security to hold him accountable to 6% interest. To any money that he gets from that $402, you see, because he gets the if it's going to who's the requestee? I told you who I'm sending the money to. I'm requesting it from him through his boss, so he gets the money. Yo, why you got this money? You can't keep this money. Somebody claimed it. Somebody claimed the interest at 6% on any special bond that they post in your name. As long as you make it payable to the right people. Make this one payable to the state. That's what the law says. Let's go to it. The members of the Colorado State Patrol shall be required to give bond to the state in the amount indicated in this section to be approved and paid for by the state. All right. So we know who approved and paid for it, so we know who we got to get it to. The same person, the bond approval. Who approves it? The Secretary of State. That's the state. That's the Secretary of State. That's who pays for that. The Department of State. That's the Department of Public Safety, State Patrol, state this, state that, Department of State. So we know he's an officer of the state. Officer Blue.
Next act, I know you're going to enjoy him because he's talented, he's bright, he's my son, so I know you're going to
Now, I get back this dispatch record. I read it. Going down this thing like... And you know what it says? It says such and such in them. It says, listen, man, we can't confirm this warrant. Yo, this bond has been paid already. That's what was said. The bond has been paid and we can't execute this warrant. The bond has been paid. It's a tax liability. Let that man go. That's what was said. They had the nerve to say that. Two different departments of officers were not being helpful to one another, which is something that's, I guess that would be common. We see it on TV, but you know, you can't just be out there trying to take people off the streets. Did y'all know that they got to confirm a warrant before they execute it? Did y'all know that? Listen, I learn new things all the time. So, you know, if you have a warrant and it's in the system, it's a warrant in the system, but the judge issues a warrant, or the prosecutor, or whoever is actually asking the judge for the signature, right? Right. So, who executes the warrant, though? See, the warrant is executed by either a surety agent or a sheriff or an officer, a law enforcement officer, the bondsman or the officer, the bounty hunter or the officer, whoever has the bounty or the sheriff. Now, can the sheriff execute a warrant if the bounty hunter has already executed it? Can a warrant be executed twice? That's double jeopardy, baby. Can't go to jail twice for the same thing. Get out of jail free card, man. The sheriff is really your best friend. The sheriff, elected officials are your best friends. We just got to learn how to communicate better. Elected officials, we need to learn how to communicate better, for real. This is a real serious topic that there's a gap that needs to be bridged between the civil servants and the ones that they took an oath to serve.
I know you're going to enjoy him because he's talented, he's bright, and he's my
So
son. So I know you're going to enjoy him.
Y'all help me bridge this gap. Y'all try to understand the fundamental importance of learning what a Freedom of Information Act request is and how to execute it, and then learning the depths of the details about the requestor and the requestee, and understanding what. See, you got to go back to my old videos to understand that who owns America, and then to understand, you have to understand the Magna Carta to understand, like, man, the surety bond and all this type of stuff that goes way back. It goes way back, and even then, you know, it is said that the English people have basically, the Magna Carta wouldn't even have came about if it wasn't for Morocco. If it wasn't for the Moorish Empire, there would be no Magna Carta. The roots of the Magna Carta. And the Magna Carta dealing with surety, dealing with being able to secure your rights. Security, rights and security. And you use the security to secure the rights. You use security to secure rights. You have no rights without security. That's the thing. You have no respect and no rights without security. Until you figure out what money is, you will not be treated as an adult. You will be treated as a minority. It ain't about saying I'm grown. It's about being grown. And being grown is not about age, and it's not about ego. It's about knowing how to execute the law. If you was grown, you would know the law. No, all the people that control law, everything know the law. They grown. It's time to control our lives. And it's time to be positive about our relationship with government, and to show them that we are competent enough to understand how to do business, and we're not breaking the law, and we just want them to do good business so we can have a strong country. Simple as that. Because we're not going nowhere. I just heard Donald Trump talk about he's about to have the biggest deportation in world history. And it's about to happen, man. So we're going to have to hold on tight to our loved ones, you know what I'm saying? But they can't deport us at the end of the day. Deport us where? There's nowhere. Nobody is going to claim us as natives in their home. We are natives to this land. This is our land. My land is your land. Your land is my land. I forget the rest of the song. But the point is, we ain't got nowhere to go. Everybody talk about going to Africa and going out the country. Why? You know what I'm saying? It ain't about if you can't beat them, join them. It's not about that. It's about can't beat them, reform them. And if there's no reforming them, then you may know the rest. But you know, the science is it's not about reforming the human being. It's about reforming the idea. And if you're telling me there's no reforming the idea, then that's like saying we don't have the power. This is a new day and time, and we got the power, and we got to bridge a gap. And if there is no bridging the gap, then we must decide now. Because I'm ready to work. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff is money. The evidence, the body cam, the dispatch, the power of attorney, the oath, the bond, the names, the invoice, it's all money. And you have to build the case. You have to build the file. You have to build the money. It's not about entrapping somebody, because if they was not guilty, or if they was innocent, or if they didn't do the injury which is complained about, then they would just say so. They would just speak up, but they can't speak up, which is why the case keeps getting stronger and stronger, and the evidence keeps getting heavier and heavier until it rains down onto their head. And when it rains down, it's fire and brimstone. So y'all try to grasp this right here. Freedom of Information Act request. You know, I don't know if any of y'all been watching that Young Thug joint. That Young Thug joint real interesting, man. It's looking like he might beat it because they not even describing Rico. I had thought about it like, man, he's not even there's no racketeering here. There's no criminal organization here. He made it big off rap. Everybody knows that Jeffrey got his money off rap. That he is not a career drug dealer, killer, stiller. I mean, I'm not saying he ain't no bad dude or he ain't did the bad man thing, but I'm just saying, you know, from what it looked like, he didn't grow up. He didn't get rich off shakedowns. You feel what I'm saying? He didn't get rich off, you know, theft and larceny. He didn't get rich off embezzlement. I mean, he didn't even get rich off death. He didn't get rich off drugs. I mean, I didn't know. Not to my knowledge. As far as I know, first time I saw him, he was a musician or a rapper, whatever you want to call it. But it's gonna be hard for them to prove that he gonna be sitting in jail for 30 years as a boss, when I don't even think he's intelligent enough to think like that. When we say boss, man, we say it in such a stupid way. We don't even be a boss, and we be saying we a boss. We be saying we a boss, and we ain't even got no employees. Like, ain't nobody even working for real. No real jobs. It's just, and it's not real crime jobs, not real legitimate jobs or criminal jobs, not real blue collar or white collar jobs, not real. Motherfucker just sitting around smoking weed and rapping, just running into the grocery store and cleaning the cars and shit. Them is odd jobs. You can't get RICO'd for odd jobs. You feel what I'm saying? You got an odd job RICO. And that's why it's weak, because it's an odd job RICO. It's not a real job, man. If they was real attorneys, they would say those words. It's an odd job RICO. Like, I'm not even finna sit here and deny, like, my client and them don't have a gang. They've presented so much evidence of gang influence. But when we say racketeering, when we say corrupt organization, when we say an organization, these gentlemen are not organized. They're not organized. How many of them have homes? First thing I will call in the question: how many of them own homes? How many of them own cars? How many of them have children and families that that they provide for, that they out here doing this stuff for, to where their families are living healthily. They got nice cars and they children looking good because of the criminal organization that they got. They don't have it. They don't have it. And he's gonna walk out of there. He's gonna walk out of there with flying colors because the all they got is a gang injunction. And that's what they should have did. They should have went for a gang injunction. They should have went for a gang injunction where they would remove these people from the streets, where they couldn't hang out with each other. And they're trying to do that as a secondary punch because the injunction is going to come after the judgment. But they'll never get this judgment. They'll never get this RICO. This man is not a boss. Look at his face. Look at his face. They know he's not a boss. I mean, oh man. A criminal boss, get the fuck out of here. If you want to get a criminal boss, you want to RICO somebody, go RICO Diddy, fat. Go RICO Diddy.
He's bright and he's my son, so I know you.
Go RICO Diddy. Diddy needs the RICO. How many people did he touch on? He gonna be the next Harvey Weinstein. He's the black Harvey Weinstein. They getting him already. He's done. Fried noodles. Boy, you settled on some. The people are not intelligent. They think he settled because of this, because the company forced him to settle. Yeah, they forced him to settle, but he said, I want y'all to settle. That shows that I didn't settle. As long as it shows that I didn't settle, then that's good for him. You know why? Because, boy, if he settled on that, that's basically admitting guilt. You can't admit that guilt. And you want to settle privately, so you want to keep it out of court. So you saying, listen, we can't even bring this into court. We want to settle out of court, but it's already been public. See, settling out of court is supposed to happen before court. She's supposed to threaten them with the lawsuit. See, filing the lawsuit, if the lawsuit has already been filed, what y'all have to understand is it's public. So the lawsuit was already public. And all this pedophile stuff is, or this trafficking and all this stuff. He's the next Harvey Weinstein. He didn't settle. Yes, the company settled. They said, we gonna force you to settle, which was better for P. Diddy. That was way better for him. That he didn't have to settle out of his own hand, but it's coming down on him. They canceled him from the Grammys. Nobody wants to sit next to him. They taking all his endorsements. He's about to step down, and it's a real sad day. It's a real sad day for him and his hip hop career. But what goes around comes around. You know what I'm saying? When it rains, it pours. You know what I'm saying? But if anybody needs to get RICO'd, it's that type of dude. That's real. If we want to say somebody got some money on criminal organizing, like when Diddy's not an entertainer, all the money he got, man, he be raping these artists. Like, these record contracts should be called RICO charges. Like, the way they do these rappers, how they be complaining 20 years later, motherfucker need to get hit with a RICO for that, man. Look at anybody that rapped or sang with Diddy is either dead or out of their mind, or still scraping. You feel what I'm saying? And if they not scraping, they doing good. That mean they had other things going in their mind. They was good thinkers. Like the Locks getting their thing cracking. People that messed with Diddy really had a bad rap. That's why J-Lo had to get away from his ass and keep that money in her pocket. Boy, she was, man, it's a bunch of people losing around that man. You feel what I'm saying? But as far as the Young Thug case, like, nah. When I sit back and I think about it, I say, nah, this dude ain't no damn boss. You know what I'm saying? This dude ain't no boss. He ain't calling no shots. He ain't get rid like Meech and them got hit with a RICO. They said allegedly Meech was the boss. Allegedly this and that was the boss. But that's because they said that, y'all don't have skills. What do y'all do? None of y'all are rappers. Y'all not NFL players. Y'all just some rich ass street niggas. RICO, you know what I'm saying? I ain't joking about it because, hey, it's serious game. You see what I'm on? Get out of jail free card. Don't think I'm rooting for these punks out here trying to ruin our lives, take us away from our children's. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, some people just doing wrong, man. Some people just doing wrong, man. This right here is for the people that's doing right. You doing right, and they treating you wrong. Woo! Here I come. But anyways, man, y'all stay tuned into that Young Thug. They gonna drop that case. They gonna drop that. That judge gonna throw that out. But I mean, if he don't throw it out, the jury gotta have enough common sense to realize that you can't charge just some, you know, a handful of dudes. Like even some dudes, they took deals, but why would you take a deal on a RICO? What kind of that? They had public defenders, and that's how you know. That's how you know they wasn't no real criminal organization, because everybody didn't even have no lawyer. Like these dudes taking public defenders, man. Like, come on, man. When the mob got RICO, they had lawyers, and if they didn't have lawyers, that means somebody was about to get whacked. If they didn't send you a lawyer, if Paulie didn't send you a lawyer, and you was sitting in there and you had a public defender, you knew you was about to die. You was trying to snitch fast because, boom, but it's happening quick. You out of there because, listen, you can't go to jail. It's a bunch of blacks in there. They're going to extort you. You're going to rat. And the blacks are gonna extort you. That's how the battalions felt when they went to jail. Fucking gotta go to jail with these black bastards. You know what I'm saying? We in there like, yo, Paulie, what's going on, man? Heard you got hit with a hot one. Like, yeah, trial gonna be tough, huh? Hey, man, why don't you go ahead and tell Big Paulie to go ahead and send us some good old lunch packs up in here, man. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 10 of them. Yeah, about 10 packs. That's funny, right? That's how it went, though, because they mistreated blacks so bad on the streets. A lot of the time, they mistreated us so bad that when they went to the penitentiary, it was a shakedown. It's a shakedown on them, boy. Like, y'all not supposed to be here, boy. Y'all supposed to have enough money to pay the police off. But when them bodies start dropping, that's when them RICOs start popping. And that's why they trying to use the murder of the dude in Atlanta for the RICO on Young Thug. But it ain't going to stick because it's a murder. But they should have hit that motherfucker with, like I said, a gang injunction, if that was what it was. But how do you hit this man with a RICO? He wasn't there. And y'all saying he ordered it or something like that because he bought the rental car. But there's much evidence of this man buying rental cars way before that. You know what I'm saying? And people do things on the spur of the moment. And I think the jury has enough common sense to at least one person in there to think like me. At least one person to just be like, what the hell? Hold on. Let's just think about the people that, if anybody's intelligent enough to understand where RICO came from the five families and the Italian mob, and how Blakely and Rudy Giuliani had a hard one for taking the Italian mafia down. They couldn't make nothing stick. So they said we have to create this thing called RICO where we can arrest the boss, or we could arrest a lower ranking official, get him to tell on the boss, and then arrest the boss for 30 years based on what this lower ranking official did. Alleged lower ranking official who's accusing them of being an organization, but you know, they had a thing. Okay. But the thing is, they couldn't before the RICO, they couldn't get him for long. They could get every now and then. They got 1 for a murder, 2 for a murder. And then the mob would take care of them. 2 for life, you get taken care of, because at that point, they wasn't really tripping off. But when that RICO came, oh, bro, you better not go to jail for nothing. They was going to whack you because they knew that you telling could get the boss put in jail for life. This is when the murders start going crazy. They was already killing each other, period. But when the RICO happened, it's like when like good people was getting killed. Motherfucker that wasn't going to tell was going to get killed. You could be solid as a rock and still get killed because of RICO. So RICO was an attempt to dismantle the mafia, and now brothers don't even have that in them. Black people don't have that in them. There's no way that since Young Thug's half of his crew done snitched that they're about to get killed now. It'll never happen. They're going to walk around Atlanta, North Carolina, wherever the fuck they're at. They're going to enjoy life with their ratting ass. He's gonna enjoy life with his rat ass. Ain't nobody in the rap industry a part of no organization that's finna come and shoot Gunna. None of that bullshit. It's not gonna happen. It's all a fallacy. Don't you understand what I'm saying? So all this Rico shit, it's got to get dropped. And when it get dropped, he better hope he don't fuck with Gunna. I mean, he could do all the rapping he want at that point if he beats it, but he shouldn't say a motherfucker. I wouldn't even fuck with Gunna. I wouldn't go touch him. I would square my life up because they not gonna stop. But you know, they're not gonna be able to get hit with a Rico again. And then if they beat the Rico, and they do try to come with some like state or even a federal injunction, any type of injunction, man, they'll have that acquittal to show that this just a bunch of bullshit. And then even then, that lady in Atlanta might get fired, man. You know, because the rumor has it is she had a relationship with the dude that got murdered in the first place, man. The streets talk bullshit walk, prosecutor. Heard you was fucking the dude that got murdered. So you having sex with the dude that got murdered. And now you introducing Ricos. And you trying to give ordinary young black project kids who gangbang Rico charges, but you know damn good and well the projects don't even look nice. How the fuck you? It's like Rico a motherfucker when he take you nigga. If you got enough money to make your projects, nigga, and everybody looking nice and living nice, and everybody know that you're a criminal and you're using your drug money and your pimp money and all this money to fund your good lavish lifestyle, that's when you get hit with a Rico, when it looks good. Come on, bro. Remember the movie Goodfellas when they hit the lick and the motherfucker came in there with the fur coat? The first one came in. He was like, motherfucker, take the fur coat. Like, you know, he was hot. Robert De Niro was hot. He made the first, give me the jacket. Then the second dumbass came in with a fur coat on in a Cadillac outside. He said, look, he took the jacket off. He said, take this shit and the car back. A couple scenes later, though Robert De Niro was paranoid. He started killing them motherfuckers, man. Old Paulie got killed, man. Old PD got killed, man, you know, because they was doing dumb shit. We just hit a lick, and you showing the whole world. So, no, I don't see Young Thug getting 30 years as a fucking boss. I see the Atlanta Police Department losing miserably on TV, just like the LA Police Department lost with OJ. But this even easier, because there is no gun. There ain't no... That's why they using Rico. They think it's easier than OJ. It ain't. It ain't. These niggas are not organized, man. They're not organized, and it's so lackadaisical. It's like they got the nigga Young Thug in a car with $19. I mean, what kind of boss rides around with $19? Man, whatever though, man. You know. On another topic, you know, within the last 12 minutes of this video, we're going to stop at an hour. But another topic is George Santos. George Santos, the dirtbag congressman that got expelled for bribery and all this other stuff. And when I was researching George Santos and his expulsion from Congress, I actually started Googling that shit, right? And I found out that James Trafficant Jr. actually got expelled too. And that motherfucker was something else in Congress. But he just happens to be the congressman that got on the floor of the House of Representatives and announced that the United States is actually a bankrupt corporation. And he said that, you know, the blueprint to survive it, if many see it as a demise, a coroner's report that's going to lead to the demise of the country. And that's what we're looking at now. We're looking at a country in demise, and we need to fix it. It's up to us. We need to fix it. Black people, superheroes, we need to fix it. It is what it is. It's time for us to save the day once again. You know, just like Crispus Attucks and Benjamin Banneker, just like George Washington Carver and Lewis Latimer, we always coming to help y'all and improve y'all lives and make y'all lives easier and better. And guess what? We're going to do it again because it's going to benefit us too. But I hate that every time we got to do something that benefit us, y'all want to take the credit for it. It's like y'all hate that we invent stuff. Y'all, it's time to stop stealing from us, y'all. You know, we want y'all lives to be better too. We want everybody's lives to be better. And here we come again. We coming again to save y'all. Mr. James Trafficant Jr., he know what time it is, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, we coming to save and the 10%ers. The 10%ers on top. They don't want us to save y'all, save the majority of the people that's blind, deaf, and dumb. They don't want y'all to know the law. They don't want us to eat better. They don't want us to live better. They don't want us to have good relationships with one another. So it's time to switch it up. It's time to expel them. Anybody that's not doing their job, accepting briberies and doing all this other stuff, this wickedness, you're going to get expelled. You're going to get expelled. We're going to kick you out. Y'all make sure y'all go get a copy of that book. All on the Biz Cash App. Cash App me $50 for your copy of the Get Out of Jail Free card. Type your name, address, and the words "Get Out" in the subject line, and I will send you your book. And that includes the shipping. Don't even worry about it. It's going to get to you. I'm trying to get this book out. I'm trying to get it to your hands. You know, the book costs $200. It's on discount right now. You know, and I have had some purchases. So y'all listen. Got to get your book game up. You know, I done bought books from Harvard. I done bought books from Black's Law. I done bought books from Webster. It's time for me to start having a little something out here. Allonthebiz.com, ALLONABIZ.com. Merchandise. Got some Champion fleeces on there. Windbreaker hoodies. Good for that California winter. Put a little crew neck under it. Like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. Y'all stay tuned in to my progress with this. See, I'm showing you what I'm doing. I ain't telling you to do nothing. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. It's public. We making it public. Ain't nothing. I'm not doing nothing in secret with these people. Because it's like Congress. All their meetings are public. Now, when the papers, my documents will be private, but the law is public, and you can find all this in the law for yourself. All I'm doing is finding it for you and putting it in one place for you to understand the power in these things. I don't think anybody really understands the power of a Freedom of Information Act request. Why do we have the Freedom of Information Act request? Because this is the age of information, and if you ain't learning, if you ain't requesting it, you ain't learning it. You got to request it, search it, seize it, read it. Yeah. Yeah, because it's ugly, man. We don't want to get robbed out here. And you get your ticket. You know, you get this and that. And it just seems like tomorrow, it just makes shit depressing. Like, you get a ticket and traffic school and all that shit is just so terrible. But what's even more terrible is that when you execute the law, that don't mean you gonna get the respect. The respect come. It come with the work, man. You gotta put in work. So y'all keep putting in work. And then, you know, I'm gonna keep putting in work. I gotta put in some work for my brethren out of town, man. You know, I got some bad news yesterday, so you know, it's time to come to the rescue, man. It's time to come to the rescue. And I need a small circle. I need a small team. I need y'all to join me, man. Small team, small circle. Get together and let's execute these laws. Let's get this money. There's money in this. Let's get this money, y'all. I'm gonna go and fade to black. Let me see. Wayne. Ba-da-da.
I know you're going to enjoy him because he's talented, he's bright, and he's my son. So I know you're going to enjoy him.
I'm trying to do something, right? It ain't working, though. It's all right. I'm trying to... Let's see if it'll work. Let's see.
This is a Now Boy Beat.
All right, there you go. That's what I wanted to do, just like that. Let that shit rock out like that. Executing the public record search and request. We went through that. I showed you that when you send it to the custodian, And when you pay it, you want to make it payable to the public register. And we know we're dealing with the state, so we're making it payable to the state. We're making it payable to the state. If it's a county officer, you're making it payable to the county. City officer, you're making it payable to the city. In care of the custodian, secretary of the city, or the clerk of the county, or the secretary of the state. Signing off, y'all.